Hey guys, this is Natalie from Inspired Alignment. I decided to come on today and just do kind of like a short reading for the collective. I have not been on the channel for a while now, as some of you guys may have noticed. Unfortunately, it's been kind of a rough couple of months. Specifically, the month of March has been pretty difficult. Pretty much every single aspect of my life has been rocked in some way, shape, or form. And I've noticed that, like, kind of with just the collective energy, that people are either kind of going through this like really hard time right now, or they're kind of experiencing the exact opposite, where they're like fully connected. They're like really in the flow of things. So I just kind of wanted to do a reading for those who are maybe kind of going through some of the harder times right now, and see like what messages wanted to come through. I know that I have put a hold on all of my readings, including my personal readings. I've emailed everybody who had a personal reading and let them know. So I'll be getting back to those after the Mercury retrograde, so after the 28th of March, and I'll probably start reposting my regular videos around that time as well. I'm not sure what exactly I'm going to do as far as my twin flame videos yet. I think I will probably change them up in some way, but I'm just not quite sure how right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull a few cards here for basically the collective. So, you know, it won't resonate probably with everybody, but this is going to be kind of focusing on those who are kind of having more of a difficult time right now. So, I mean, I would say like when Mercury went in retrograde around the beginning of the month, is kind of when a lot of this stuff started to get really rocky for a lot of people, maybe even a little bit before then. So for those of you who are kind of dealing with this difficulty, this reading is going to be kind of more focused for you guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, Spirit, what messages does the collective need to know right now about the energy that is taking place and has been taking place, and what is to come? What messages do you have right now for the collective? I just want to point out right at the bottom of the deck we have healing. So yeah, definitely there's some healing going on. Okay, what other messages do we have, Spirit? Okay, King of Earth, the Seven of Water, and Body and Mind. And then underneath the deck, I have the Youth. Okay, so what I see from this, I do feel like a lot of us are having to kind of really like have this focus in on like more of like the physical or earthly realm during this time, at least for those who have been having some difficulty during like this last month. It's been like a lot of things that are kind of coming up to the surface, that are taking place like in our physical reality. Things that need to end are ending. Things that like we have been stagnant on, or just kind of like procrastinating or not really making a move with. That stuff is like shifting. Yeah, even things unexpectedly coming up, but it does seem to be like more of this like things happening in the physical. And that's kind of what I'm picking up with this King of Earth, like is like this very physical type of energy. And us really having to focus on things that are taking place within our physical lives. And then here we have the Seven of Water. So I do pick up like that releasing. The releasing of things that are no longer serving us, of, you know, mentally, emotionally, physically, just this release of things that just are not serving our highest good anymore. And of course, this is to like make room for newer and better things that are meant to come into our lives during this time. With the body and mind card, I am getting like that we are having to kind of really kind of like deal with a lot of things that are happening in our physical reality, and like rebalance ourselves within that. So, you know, like learning or, you know, practicing basically how to be in situations that are, you know, maybe disturbing or chaotic or sad or just change in general. And learning how to balance that within ourselves, and really kind of get the mind and the body like back into balance and back on board with being in this like higher vibration. And then with underneath the deck, which this would be our main focus here, we have the youth card, which is really interesting. Because I feel like this is kind of saying that this is all in preparation or in the process of like these new beginnings. Like the youth are our future, basically. So, you know, like the youth, just the younger people here on planet Earth are like the future of our planet. And that's kind of what I'm getting from this. Basically, that, you know, our future is kind of being prepped, and in order for us to experience like these new changes or this new beginning, on a collective level and an individual level, we have to kind of change things that are going on within our lives that maybe we've held on to for too long, and release those things so that we can, you know, start to change the way we're doing things here for our new beginning, and so that those things can come into our life and we're in balance and ready to receive those things. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify some of these just to see if we can get some more messages. All right, Spirit, so what else do you want us to know about the King of Earth here? And thank you to the people that have like kind of reached out and basically, you know, like, I think because I wasn't on, like, they knew something was going on and they were sending me, you know, positive vibes and just really nice messages. So thank you to those that have done that. I really do appreciate it. Okay, Spirit, what do we need to know about the King of Earth? King of Earth. The Hanged Man. So yeah, I do kind of like a little bit of what I was saying. This is, you know, like I was saying, like things that are taking place in the physical world, things in our physical life, material things. It could be money, your home, your family, your marriage, anything like that. And us kind of like definitely feeling like we have to like hang on like this, like upside down, you know, and hang on, I don't even know what they call this, but normally it's a tree, to gain a new perspective on things within our life. So things are changing rapidly, or they're just ending or coming crashing down in some way, or just, you know, things that are totally unexpected, and it's all happening so that we can change our perspective on these things that are happening in our physical life. So let's take a look at this Seven of Water. Spirit, what do you want us to know about the Seven of Water? All right, 1 minute. Okay, we have here the Two of Pentacles. I I feel like on this side, because on this side here, there's like no people in the image, and then on this side there is like people who are watching. And I feel like there's like this like releasing of old things on multiple levels. But I feel like I'm getting a couple different messages. Like there are people within your life or within our life that are kind of like watching this transformation take place, and it's almost like we're doing like this balancing act. Like, I got this. I'm going through all this destruction and whatnot, but I got this. I'm still holding up my two pentacles, and so like for some, I feel like this is, you don't have to put on this show for people around you if you are kind of not releasing some stuff. Like if you're really trying to hold it together and just not release like things that need to be released, because there are other people who are kind of observing you or watching you in some way. Like I'm basically getting the message that, you don't have to do that. Like take some time away. Like these people, if they're meant to be here, they'll be here after you go through this releasing. Like you don't have to like keep up like this show to impress other people, like because the other message I'm getting is that there are people who are kind of watching you go through this transformative time and seeing you go through these hard times and still kind of come out balanced. And they're impressed by this, like they're like, oh my gosh, like how is this person able to do this? And I'm getting like, because these people that are able to do this have taken the time to kind of go through a little bit of that darkness, a lot of that like murky stuff, like and release emotions and things that no longer belong, and then come back out balanced and be able to kind of move forward and get back into the flow of things. So I do get like two messages here. Like some of you, I feel like, need to not be so worried about what other people are seeing you as, and holding on to things because you're worried about what people around you think or see. And then for others of you, people who are around you who are kind of impressed by the transformation that has been able to take place within you. And for those who are holding on, once you do release and kind of like balance yourself back out, like it'll be in that second group of people where people are just kind of impressed. And, I'm getting like kind of in awe of like, oh my gosh, like how did this person, come out on top in a way after going through such a difficult time. And, here on top of the deck, I have the Fool card, which is, like releasing all of this stuff and, coming back into balance, like for this new beginning, for this new start, and kind of just like learning how to be the Fool, and have faith that everything is going to be okay, even if you need to let go of some things. All right, Spirit, so what is this body and mind card about? What do we need to know about the body and mind? What do we need to know about the body and mind? Okay, so we have the Five of Swords, and on this side, it is like this feeling of defeat, like there's a winner and there's like an obvious winner and an obvious loser. And I kind of feel like that is kind of what it feels like right now. I do get like this huge like divide where some people are just like really like the term that's coming to mind is winning from Charlie Sheen. Like some people are just really winning right now, and some people are really going through it. But it is like this ebb and flow that is kind of going on within the collective. There are like groups of us who are sometimes going through these really low moments while others are holding up that higher vibration. And then like when it's time for them to kind of go through and release some of this stuff, that other group is kind of holding up that higher vibration. But I do feel like, it is all to come into balance. to be able to release and transform things, and really be able to match our thinking with our physical. It's like going through difficult times, or like this purging, or whatever it is that you're going through. It is all to kind of get you back in alignment with what your path is, basically, like what is in your highest good. Okay, so let's take a look at this youth card. All right. So I have the Two of Cups here. I feel like, I mean, a lot of people are probably dealing with some issues within partnerships right now, especially with like that full moon in Libra, and how we have basically two of them in a row. And Libra does kind of focus a lot around relationships. And I feel like regardless if relationships are falling apart, or if they're coming together, or if they're falling apart temporarily so that they can come back together, you know, later, it is all kind of taking place for this like new beginning, for this like new change that is kind of coming. Like on that collective level and individual level. But I feel like, you know, people in our lives who we have relationships with, and this is any kind of a relationship, so intimate, family, friend, coworker, all people who we have relationships within our lives really kind of reflect back to us things about ourselves. So really every single person within our life is like a mirror in some way. And I do think that it is through these interactions with the people in our lives that are kind of creating like some of this upheaval, or this coming together or breaking apart. And it is really having us like go deep within ourselves and to experience all of these things that we're experiencing, you know, in order to bring like this new beginning. Like the star really kind of stands out to me here. And even like the snakes, you know, reminds me of like the Kundalini. I mean, like these relationships that we're having with other people, you know, are creating like all of these different things so that we can kind of rise up into our hopes and dreams and wishes, and our fulfillment. And for some of us, you know, it may be sparking like, you know, a Kundalini type of an awakening. But I do feel like this is all, you know, in preparation for new things to come within our lives. And for some of us, that may mean that certain relationships need to leave our lives. Or the, I guess the thought of certain relationships, and that is, I mean, that's going to be bringing new relationships into our life. So it's that releasing and then being able to bring in the new. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull. All right, I'm gonna pull this one first. All right, so let's go ahead and get some oracle cards. What else do we need to know during this time? What else does the collective need to know during this time? What are their messages? All right, so two wanted to come. Okay, all right, so we have a blessing of the waters, a blessing to find the truth, and then under the deck here we had a blessing for the right words. So I'm actually going to read a blessing of water from the book. Let me see. This is number 4. Okay, this card says, a blessing to bring in the powers of the waters to cleanse and purify, rebirth, and restore you. So definitely, that is definitely, I feel like what is going on for many people is there is like this cleansing and purifying that is coming in during this time, and sometimes it feels like a dang tsunami, but you know, at the end of it, it's more like a waterfall, and it is like more calming and beautiful, but sometimes it needs to kind of rip through our lives in order to get like into all those crevices that we basically have not looked at, or that we have been kind of too patient on. And then a blessing to find the truth. I feel like during this time, many people are finding out different truths within their lives that maybe they had not been able to see before. Like we're seeing through the illusion, especially with the full moon in Libra. I feel like that was a huge time of truth coming to the surface. Not only because air, like Libra is an air sign, and that's kind of like, you know, truth. Like air signs do kind of hold that sort of truth. But just because I feel like after all of this Mercury retrograde and all of this like illusionary, like mucky water and all this stuff, like it all kind of happened to be able to go within on some things, have some things like come up to the surface and be revealed so that we can see more clearly and so that we can kind of see the truth in situations within our lives. And then a blessing for the right words. I feel like this, you know, I'm getting a couple different messages. So during this time, there could have been some, you know, with certain relationships, some things that were said, or maybe some things that you wanted to say that maybe weren't so nice. And this is kind of like taking that moment, you know, alone and kind of going within a little bit, regaining your, you know, your composure and really balancing yourself out before you kind of come forward and speak words that need to be said. And I'm also getting that, you know, this could be for people who have maybe spoken words to you that were not so nice. Being conscious of the fact that I think many people were and are kind of going through this transformative time within their life, and maybe, you know, they didn't have exactly the right words during that time. And so it's kind of like being understanding of that and maybe not taking it super personally, and you know, just kind of, I'm getting like this feeling of like a moment of pause to really kind of figure out what those right words are. So I'm going to go ahead and pull one of these. Okay, what other messages do we have for the collective? All right. Okay, so we have peace. This card says, release the past. There is a more enriching future coming. Let go and let God. And underneath the deck here, we have the 10 of Michael. This card says, a situation has ended. You are finally free. New opportunities for happiness will now follow. Put the past behind you. So very much in the flow of what I've kind of been saying. There have been a lot of things that have been coming to an end, relationships, things within our material world. Things have definitely been coming to a straight up just end. And this is basically telling you that, you know, these endings are happening for a reason, because it's freeing you up so that new opportunities can now come into your life. And finding peace within that, you know, releasing the past, and knowing that there are, you know, better things that are more meant for you coming into your life now. So just kind of letting go and surrendering and letting like the universe and spirit kind of bring these new things into your life and trusting in that, you know, as well. Okay, so I'm going to get a message from the Lightworkers Oracle. I swear that was karmic clearing that just almost flew out. I could tell. Definitely some karmic clearing going on right now. Okay, so we have past life activation and unplug from mass consciousness. I'm actually going to read that from the book. So past life activation says, you have talents within that have been developed through many varied life experiences. You have had many lifetimes already, even if you don't recall them consciously, helping you evolve and grow into the loving being that you are today. Your desire to grow in consciousness and spiritual power to assist the divine plan unfolding throughout the universe is heard and supported by the spiritual worlds in all ways. To this end, past life material is being activated now for your benefit and for the greater good. So definitely, I mean, on top of like all of this clearing and everything going on, there has definitely been a lot of like activations coming in. We've had like solar flares. Like there's a ton of stuff that I feel like we're also like integrating during this time. It's like purging and integrating and then having to find that balance. I do think that after like Mercury goes direct and we kind of get through like this month of March, going more into April, probably closer to like the middle of April, people are really going to start kind of coming out of some of this stuff and like breathing in a breath of fresh air. And I feel like many people are going to kind of bring in like these new gifts and new abilities that maybe they were not aware of before. So I'm going to read Unplug from Mass Consciousness. This card says, there is a belief system based on fear, doubt, and distrust that is known as mass consciousness. It says it is safer to stay with the crowd, not to question what you have been taught. It says you cannot trust the divine to take care of your financial well-being or your emotional needs. It says you should be afraid and not take risk. It says that if you dare to stand up and live your truth, you'll be lost and alone, humiliated, rejected, or even destroyed. You are being guided to unplug from that system of beliefs. You are capable of a more creative, loving, and soul-satisfying way of living. To access this, let go of the way that is too small for your soul. So definitely, I feel this happening, and I also feel like it goes really well with the reading. We are really having to let go of like these old systems, these old belief systems, these old structures. And for some of us, it has been difficult in certain areas of our life. But through, these challenging times, I think that we do gain this new perspective. And it helps us to kind of like move forward and look at things, in a different way. And I also feel like, for some of you guys, maybe unplugging from, watching the news or, just doing certain things that kind of like watching TV or listening to like certain kind of music or, like feeding into some of that like programming or like negative type of vibrational stuff. Maybe even making a small change like that can really kind of help to propel you forward or just kind of have you look at things maybe in a different way. So you guys, I hope that these messages helped. I will be back soon, and I'm so glad that I was able to actually come on today and do a reading. So things are starting to turn around a little bit, and I will be back on here very soon. I hope that everybody has a great rest of March, and I will see you soon. Take care.